Yeah, so I think my best tip for the juniors is that they are going to need to be more flexible than we have had to all be in the past. You know, things keep changing every 5 minutes or so, it seems. And so the traditional path that students have followed might be a little bit different. But I think for our juniors, making sure that they're consulting with their college counselors and making sure that they're talking to us about their individual paths is going to be most important for them. But also understanding that colleges are being really flexible with requirements and understanding that not everybody has the opportunity to take the SATs or the ACTs has been a really good thing. So my advice is to be relaxed about it, be ready to go with the flow, but also know that everybody has your back.
Every year we ask the seniors what advice they would give to the juniors, and every year they say the same thing, which is to do as much as you can early on. I think that hasn't changed, even though we are in a different environment now. In fact, I would say the more things that we can have the juniors do earlier will allow for time in the fall when hopefully the world opens back up again for them to be able to go on those visits in person and to do all of that. So being even more mindful about what they can do in the present when we're stuck at home, I feel like will add to their process in the fall.
The colleges have increased the number of virtual visits that they have to offer and information sessions online and things like that. And so the students have a lot of opportunities to be able to really see what a college campus would be like, because a lot of the juniors had plans over spring break to go visit colleges, and all of those got canceled. And so we have been working with them to make sure that they are looking at the virtual visits, looking at the ways to get to know a college from afar, so that they can make a decision from afar if they have to, or at least narrow the list down so that if we can get back on college campuses to go visit over the summer, they have a better sense and they can be more directed about where they go to visit. Instead of trying to visit 20 colleges, at least they can visit the 5 that feel most like the best fit for them.
Yeah. What I'd add on that, I've been entertained in my family meetings, how many families have shared like the whole virtual platform with taking tours together, like airplaying on their TV to like walk through on campuses. And I think it's interesting because like the whole pressure of like, mom, dad, I don't want you here, like I want to do it on my own, is kind of like dropped off. And so for students that have signed up for a different email list or connected with the colleges, they're getting invited to student panels, to different professors, like live streaming their classes, all these different virtual events. And it's like open the opportunity for students and families to do it together without like that idea of like, you know, I want to break away and be with my friends, or, you know, not have you around. And so it's entertaining to hear the parents say like, you know, I think I'm getting more of an insight than I would have if we were on campus. So it's interesting.
For most of our students, or many of our students, were either going to take the March or the June SAT. And so those students who were scheduled to take the June SAT and students who have not taken any SAT will have priority to register for the SAT the next SAT that will come up in August. At some point towards the end of May, those students are going to be able to have the chance to register for that exam. And so looking for that email and making sure that they do register for those exams will be important. The ACT also has a July date, and the June ACT has not been canceled at this point. And so if it does get canceled, I suspect that they'll have the same opportunities. Both SAT and ACT are also looking at having some sort of online option, so that if students can't take the test in person in the fall, that they're looking to have an online option for those students. A lot of colleges have come out to say that they will be test optional for this year, which means that you don't need to submit testing in order to have your application complete. But I do think that there's still a lot of merit in doing those tests for most of our students, because they're test optional, but they're not test blind. And so, Shipley students tend to test pretty well, and tend to do very well, and that testing can support their application. And so it is an individual choice, of course, and an individual conversation with a college counselor. We certainly have some students where test optional will make the most sense for them. And those students have been wildly successful in the past, and we expect that to be the case as well this year. But for some students, I think it will make sense to still try to take those tests and have that opportunity and have that option.
I've had some juniors who, when they reach out to colleges, if there isn't a virtual tour or that sort of thing that looks like it's readily available, if they reach out to the colleges and the admissions office, they are, like Damien had said, really eager to connect students virtually. So to have them talk with another student on campus or an admissions officer, or like he said, to sit in on a class. And so I've been advising students who don't see the virtual visits available to them to just contact the admissions office, because colleges, in the same way that we are trying to find opportunities for our students to see colleges and to experience that as part of their process, colleges really want to get prospective students online on their campus. And so there are a lot of opportunities available, some that are continuing to show up, like actual tours that are happening on Zoom, where you're kind of walking around the campus with a student. And so it's really interesting to hear about those. And we, of course, will alert students to them as we become aware of them.
The other thing I would add is for our student athletes, it's interesting working with a few this year and seeing how they've leveraged different online platforms with their film, with the opportunity to connect with coaches. I'm so used to telling students, let's come in if you want to draft emails to coaches, and we review it together and then send it out to kind of, see what sticks and, track that. Now, so many of them have that time to edit old film or reach out to current student athletes to take those virtual tours. And so many of them go right to the athletic facility and they're like, oh, nope, check that off the list, which I laugh. I'm like, well, there you go. But it's interesting to see how they're using all these new websites and platforms to get their film out there, to get their statistics and things like that. And it's working and it's sticking for so many students, because a lot of the coaches, their athletic seasons have been put on hold. And so now they're able to be at that email, be at that text, or reach out and communicate with students. And so it's exciting for some of our student athletes at a time that can be a little challenging, where there's that mourning of loss of a season. How's this going to impact my recruitment? And so the students that are getting creative, working with their college counselor or working with their different coaches and programs to get themselves on the radar if they weren't already, it's nice to look at how they're adjusting in that facet of athletic recruitment.
I think the most important thing is for the students to work with us, work with their college counselor, because we can give big blanket advice, but this is an individual process, and every student has their own path through this process. And we want to partner with them, of course, but we also want to be able to help them along their path and make sure that they are seeing what they need to see and thinking about what they need to think about. And so those individual meetings that we have with students are already very important. And in this virtual world are even more important. And we can help direct them into looking at the things that are going to be the most important for them at that moment. And for some students, they've done lots of virtual tours, but they don't know how to get in contact with professors. And so we can help them with that. And for some students who haven't done any virtual tours, we will help remind them that those virtual tours are important. And so there are a lot of pieces to this, and every student is going to be in a different place. Everybody's going to do this in a different way. And so the individual work that they do with us is most important throughout this process.
I will give Shipley a ton of credit, and Danielle and Sarah, I think, overlook it, is the seed class. It's so unique, and that students are able to work even in this online platform, which I think we do really, really well. and walking them through and screencasting and working with them individually on their common application, reviewing the different things that they share with us, whether it's an essay or something that they want us to look at. I think it's so neat how there's still fun involved in it, like with college riddles and like teaching them, in little guessing games and puzzles about like, okay, now where's this college located? Is it big? Is it small? Is it medium? Like different things to just still make it interactive, and how much they still love competing and finding the fun in that. And Shipley is unique in having that class that students can work on it with, and we really like it normalizes the process. I think for so many of like the students, like seeing that they're in this together with other students with similar questions, with similar adjustments, helps reduce that anxiety. And it's just awesome that it's structured in that way. So kudos to Danielle and Sarah and creating it and making it interactive and fun thing for the students, even in this online platform.
Thanks. And kudos to the students. I mean, they're the ones who are participating in it and being, great and interactive members of the group. And that, that makes our job even more fun. So we're happy to be able to see them, happy to be able to connect with them. And Damien's right that sometimes we do take that for granted, that we, that's such a built-in piece of the Shipley experience. And we're so happy to be able to continue that.
Yeah. Danielle, you'll laugh at this. When I was showing one of the families how to do a virtual tour, the student's like, oh yeah, this is what we did in our seed class. And the parent's like, man, you do everything in that class. And I was like, that's right. That's right.
Nice.